Hi students, today's nutrition education lesson will be covering Standard 5, which states that students will be able to use decision-making skills to enhance their health. After this lesson, you will be able to identify healthy alternatives to fast and unhealthy foods, as well as name and describe the 5 food groups. Hello, 3rd and 4th graders at Clay Elementary. My name is Ms. Boltz. I'm working with Mr. Keener this semester. I'm a student at Westchester University studying health and physical education, and today I have a health lesson for you all focused on nutrition education. So before we get started with somebody at home, I would like you to pair up and think about or discuss the most serious public health issue today for children. So 3rd and 4th graders, your age, what's the most serious public health concern? If you don't even do anyone to pair up with at home, just think about this amongst yourselves. And then you can also pause the video while you discuss, and then we will get started after that. So if you or your partner said obesity, you are correct. Over to the right, we have an image of the obesity rates in the United States for children ages 10 to 17. So as 3rd and 4th graders, you would most likely or most closely fall within this 10-year-old age group, and about 15% of all 10-year-olds are considered obese. So childhood obesity is one of the most serious public health challenges of the 21st century. About 1 in 5 children are considered obese just within the United States. We have some of the highest childhood obesity rates in the entire world. And the United States childhood obesity has more than doubled in the last 30 years. So if we continue to see growth within childhood obesity, we will just be seeing more and more obese children in our country. So a big problem or cause for childhood obesity has to do with the consumption of fast food. So within fast foods, there's something called processed food. It is processed food, which is a food item that has undergone a series of mechanical or chemical operations to either change or preserve the food. So food processing removes some of the nutrients, vitamins, and fibers that are present within the foods. They are also very highly addictive, which is why you see people who eat fast food doing it so regularly because they feel like they need it or they're craving it even more. And processed foods are killing the natural taste and color of foods. So you can only imagine if it's doing this to the food item, what it's doing to your body after you're consuming it. The salts and the phosphates, as well as other artificial ingredients in the processed foods, lead to kidney damage as well as other major health problems. So on any given day in the United States, there is an estimated 36.6% or approximately 84.8 million adults consuming fast food. The issue with this relating to children is that you would have to assume that out of that many people, some of them have children or are feeding fast food to children as well as themselves. And fast food for children does not allow for growth of the body, so it stunts the growth. And for adults, it doesn't allow you the nutrients, or it doesn't give you the nutrients that your body needs to flourish. So now that we discussed what we shouldn't be putting into our bodies, fast food and processed foods, we will discuss what we should be putting into them. Over to the right, we have an image of MyPlate, which has replaced the old food pyramid, which you may have learned about in previous years. So MyPlate is used to show what kinds of foods and how much of it we should be eating, and it's a reminder to find your healthy eating style and build it throughout your lifetime. Everything you eat and drink does matter, and the right mix can help you be healthier now as well as in the future. So now we're just going to be discussing what was on MyPlate, the 5 food groups: fruits, vegetables, grains, proteins, and dairies, a little bit more in depth. So for fruits, any fruit or 100% fruit juice would count as part of the fruit group. The fruits you are consuming may be fresh, canned, frozen, dried, whole, cut up, or even pureed. Many people like to put fruits in smoothies because you can put multiple in there, so you are getting more nutrients and more fruits within your diet in one sitting as opposed to eating just one piece of fruit. So most fruits are naturally low in fat, sodium, and calories, and they do not contain cholesterol. And fruits are great sources of many essential nutrients, including potassium, dietary fiber, vitamin C, and folate. And then lastly, they help reduce the risk of heart disease. They protect against certain types of cancers. They reduce the risk of obesity, as well as type 2 diabetes. Then we have vegetables. So any vegetable of 100% vegetable juice counts as a member of the vegetable group. Vegetables can be raw or cooked. They can be fresh or frozen, canned, dried or dehydrated, and they may also be whole or cut up or mashed. So again, just like the fruits, many people tend to put vegetables in smoothies. The reason for vegetables in smoothies is kind of to get the nutrients out of the vegetable without the the strong taste because some people don't like them. So putting it in a smoothie minimizes the taste of it while getting the important essential nutrients that your body needs. So most vegetables are naturally low in fat and calories, and they also do not contain cholesterol, similarly to the fruits. And they can reduce the risk of heart disease. They protect against certain types of cancers, and they also reduce the risk of obesity and type 2 diabetes. Moving on, we have grains, which are any food made from wheat, rice, oats, cornmeal, barley, or other cereal grains. So grains are also, examples of grains are also breads and pastas, oatmeal, breakfast cereals, tortillas, and grits. So a lot of bread products. There are two types of grains, whole grains and refined grains. Whole grains are more of like your wheat products, so whole wheat flour, whole wheat bread, whole cornmeal, brown rice, things such as that. And then refined grains are more of your white substances, so white flour, white bread, white rice. And grains alone, especially whole grains, contain lots of dietary fibers, B vitamins and minerals such as iron, magnesium, and selenium. Next up, we have proteins. So all foods made from meat, poultry, seafood, beans and eggs, peas, processed soy products, nuts, and seeds are part of the protein food group. So many people think that eating meat is the best way to consume a lot of protein, which is true. Meats contain a lot of protein, but it's also possible on a plant-based diet if you were to eat things such as beans and peas, eggs, seeds, and nuts, like we stated. So it is very possible to receive the proper amounts of protein that your body needs on a plant-based diet. So proteins supply us with many nutrients, such as B vitamins, vitamin E, iron, zinc, and magnesium. And they serve as the building blocks for our bones, muscles, cartilage, skin, blood, enzymes, hormones, and vitamins. They also provide us with a lot of calories that our bodies need. And nutrients and proteins serve many functions in our bodies. They help release energy, they carry oxygen to our blood, they help build tissues, as well as many more benefits. Next up, we have dairy. So all fluid milk products and many foods made from milk are part of this group. So obviously milk, cheese, ice cream, anything that contains milk is part of the dairy group. So dairy contains calcium, which is found within our bones and our teeth. It also contains potassium, which is important for maintaining healthy blood pressure, as well as vitamin D, which helps maintain proper levels of calcium and phosphorus. So dairy is also linked to improved bone health, which is important for our bones and our teeth, like we said. And dairy can reduce the risk of some diseases, such as osteoporosis, which is bone disease, heart disease, as well as type 2 diabetes. Next up, we have a video about MyPlate.
Eating healthy is important. The foods and drinks you choose for meals and snacks can help you be healthier now and in the future. And it's more than eating one healthy meal or one healthy snack. Your food choices add up and they all matter. So, where to start? First, choose foods from all 5 food groups throughout the day and throughout the week. Fruits, vegetables, grains, protein foods, and dairy. Your fruits and vegetables can be fresh, frozen, dried, or canned. Try roasting or steaming them as a healthful option. Try starting your day with whole grains, like oatmeal or whole grain cereal. For extra flavor and crunch, add your favorite fruit or a handful of nuts. Stuck in the same old routine? Mix up your protein foods. Try seafood twice a week. And enjoy milk and yogurt in recipes or on their own. Read labels and ingredient lists to compare foods and choose healthier options. Across all of your choices, drink and eat less sodium, saturated fat, and added sugars. And hey, we know it's not always on a plate. It's about making shifts no matter where you are. Start with small changes to make healthier choices you can enjoy. Small changes add up to big wins. For more information, visit choosemyplate.gov.
So that basically is just a really good video that sums up what we talked about in the past slides, as well as gives you ideas or examples of foods that are nutritious or nutritious for our bodies that would help with childhood growth, as well as minimize the effects or minimize obesity in general. So next up, we have moderation. So a healthful diet is moderate and contains the right amounts of foods for maintaining proper weight, neither too much nor too little of these foods. So there are really no bad foods, quote unquote. If you tend to enjoy things that are more high in sugar, high in fat, that's okay. You just have to do it in moderation, meaning you don't eat too much of it. Next up, we have a Kahoot just to test your knowledge about the things we just discussed. So because this is an asynchronous lesson, meaning you're doing it on your own time, I will be going over the Kahoot with you, although I encourage you to write down the answers or the questions, or if you want to just do it in your head, that's fine too, but just follow along with me and try to answer these questions. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, so starting off, we have what is the most serious public health issue for children. So this is what you discussed in the very beginning. So we did discuss heart disease, but we discussed that as a way for, or a thing the 5 food groups can do to minimize. So that's not the answer. That would be something that is preventative from the 5 food groups. Tobacco use, we didn't discuss that. Stress, we didn't discuss that. Lastly, we have obesity, which is what we determined to be the most serious public health issue. Next up, we have what is not one of the 5 food groups. So fruits, we discussed that. Vegetables, yes. Dairy, yes. And processed foods. Although we discussed that, it is not one of the 5 food groups. It's in fact something that you don't want to be consuming, or not much of anyway. Next, we have a true or false. So true or false, a processed food is a food item that has had a series of mechanical or chemical operations performed to it. So we did say back in the processed food slide about fast foods that processed foods do have a series of mechanical or chemical operations performed to it. So this would be moving on. We have what is an example of grains. So chicken, that would be a protein. Pasta, that would be a grain. Broccoli, a vegetable. Banana, a fruit. So we are left with pasta. Okay, and then we have a true or false. Dairy is linked to improved bone health. So back in the dairy slide, we said that our bones and our teeth benefit greatly from dairy, which would lead us to think that it does improve our bone health. Okay, so then why do we use MyPlate? So do we use it to show the kinds of foods we should be eating, to show us portion sizes, to remind us that everything we eat matters, or all of the above? So all of these things that I just said were discussed in the MyPlate slide. Therefore, the answer would be all of the above. Lastly, we have a true or false. Processed foods are not highly addictive. So we also went over this in our processed foods and fast food slide, and we said that they are highly addictive, which is why more people tend to eat them regularly. All right, next up we have a Google form assessment. So for this assessment, you're going to be creating a healthy meal. You're going to use the 5 food groups that we've discussed previously to come up with a healthy dinner meal for you or your family to make together at home. So this can be, of course, something that you were planning on making or something that you just created using things that we discussed in our previous slides. So without looking at the PowerPoint, I would like you to think of the 5 food groups and then list something from each of them that would make up one big healthy meal that you could eat to get all the nutrients that your body needs. After you've completed that assessment, the lesson is finished, and I hope you enjoyed this lesson as well as learned a lot of very important information. Have a great day.